7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes. What a day it has been. Just kind of added the misery of yesterday, didn't it? But hey, we're going to talk about it. It's a bump in the road. We're not going to get too down on ourselves, but we have to talk about what went wrong. So let's do that. Now, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the channel. Don't forget we have a membership option of 99p. Don't forget we have amazing sponsors, Diet Crow, Baz 20 for 20% off. Do amazing stuff, not just t-shirts and all that sort of stuff. They do loads of other stuff as well. Don't forget about Jan's art as well. Absolutely amazing stuff. The stuff he's done for us is fantastic. The new banner, the cartoon characters of me, Superfan Dan, John and Ian are absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping to get some more done. But links in the descriptions for both of them because, you know, if you want something done, he will do it for you. You've just got to ask him what you want. He's absolutely brilliant. So there's all the stuff. Don't forget, bottom right-hand corner, if you want to donate, all the money is going to John Gibson. He will receive the money around about the 27th of this month. We'll be donating at least £50 to him. So if you want to add some more to that, please donate tonight because we're running out of time. Lauren's watching on TV for a change. Instead of being on the show tonight, Jules is in the house. Gary's in the house. Dan's obviously coming on. So's John. I'm surprised Mr. O'Hare hasn't made an appearance tonight, but there we go. Getting pretty full and blue at the hour. Bleh. I was watching that game. I was getting very excited when Fulham were winning. Okay, guys, took a long walk off a short pier. I couldn't walk on water, so I got wet. Loving the banner. The banner's brilliant, isn't it? It really is. Thanks for joining as well, Jim. You made it on time, which is nice to see. Right, let's bring my co-host in. As always, Mr. Superfan Dan. Stop showing off.
How are you, Baz? Good to see you.
How are you? Yeah.
Knackered. It was a long day yesterday. Because we had the Premier League Saturdays, and then I went home and took a nap for an hour, and then I hosted a watch party for Monterey Bay, and then immediately ran off to see the closing performance of the local We Will Rock You, the Queen musical here at our local community college. So it was a long flipping day.
I love Queen.
Who doesn't?
It's kind of magic.
Exactly.
Sorry.
We had watched the first 3 games at the pub yesterday at 7 a.m. and looking at the PL, the Premier League app, it said that we didn't have to change channels. So then all of a sudden at kickoff, we had Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on all the TVs or something. So I had to quickly run over to the controller and switch over to the NBC station. And by then we were already 1-0 down. It was,
we'll talk about that.
It was a shit start to the morning.
It was. Before we get to the game, let's bring John in first. How we doing, John?
Yes, John.
Evening, guys. Evening, Dan. Evening, Baz. Evening, everyone.
Look like you should be on holiday with that shirt on.
Oh, don't you start. I've had some right ribbing today over this. Honestly, my brother started, a couple of lads down at the booze. Honestly, the sun's... I'm going to be honest with you. So I played rugby yesterday.
Right.
And it's a little bit like concrete, and I've smashed my knees in. So I've put shorts on today so that there's no material touching. So obviously I've had to go with a bit summer vibes. So that's why it's come out.
Right.
Yes.
Is it black and white, Franz?
Is it what, sorry?
Are they black and white Bronze.
No, they're sort of dark blue and lighter blue. But we'll say if it looks black and white, then happy days.
It looks black and white on here, so that's what we'll
looks
say.
black and white. It looks
We'll
black
take it
and
and
white.
run a mile. Then we'll take it and run a mile.
There
Looks
you go.
New Zealandish as well.
Oh, I wish I could play like a New Zealand rugby player. I tell you. Although I did score a
bet.
try. I was the oldest try scorer yesterday.
Well done. Well done. I like it. Right. Oh, what's this? I spent the bulk of the day deep amongst the Villa lot in the Brum. My acting was class as the goals went in. Look at Jules. And speak of the devil.
There he is.
There
Hey,
he
how you guys
is.
doing?
Really good. We weren't sure if you were going to make it or not. We thought you might.
I'm never sure.
I know.
It's just crazy. Yeah. Just getting my feet on the ground.
That looks like Oklahoma background.
It is. Yeah. We had tornado watch last night. So,
Oh, wow.
Interrupted sleep and all that. But everything's good here.
That's fantastic. Tornado watch. I keep forgetting about the crazy weather you guys get over there.
Yeah. We had 5 in the state, but none of them were close to us. So,
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. Well, there was a tornado that blew through Newcastle United yesterday as well. So, I suppose we did have one in England, but it was in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Nice link. I like that.
Yeah, I try my
Very
best.
good segue. Yep, there you go.
I try my best. Dan, you sum up the game in your words, and we'll go around the houses, and then we'll talk about the action.
I'm going to use War Allen's words from Sky Sports yesterday. It was a bad day at the office.
Mm-hmm.
They had us sussed out from the whistle. An unchanged starting 11, 3 matches in a row within 6 days. We were asking for it. I was confident, but I also said in my match preview, I said I was expecting a 1-1 draw, and I would have taken 1-1 at halftime. Absolutely. It was so many individual mistakes. It was sad to watch. Joe Linton gave up the ball so many times, and we don't expect that from him. Fabs with the own goal. It just took the wind out of our sails. Everything about it. I think it'd been a long week. I think I'm not going to say they're desperate for Eddie to be back at the office to right the ship. I think Mad Dog's done a great job while he's been gone. Our perfect April is out the window, obviously, but they're still in with a shout next weekend if we can do well in our next match. Both guys, that's a tandem manager of the month nomination as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
We were due one of these. It was going to be a blip, and that's what I'm hoping. It's going to be a blip. Yeah. I'm hoping. Unfortunately, it had to be against Villa. One of my best mates. One of my best mates is a Brummie, and he's been Birmingham Villa all of his life. He's from Birmingham, is what I was meaning to say. And just last weekend, he was in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the North American Villa Association or whatever it was. So I mean, he is dyed in the wool, blue and claret, and hats off to him. He had his pub is sponsoring the local over 40 football team, so they had a kit launch on Friday. So he was a bit minging and couldn't get to the match yesterday morning to watch with me. So I was giving him stick about not being in there, and of course he had to give it right back as each goal went in. So I'm gutted. I'm disappointed. At the same time, I'm looking around that starting 11 and going, I don't think we could have asked more, but I don't think we could have expected more out of them after the 3 matches in 6 days. And they were against 9 goals in 2 games. And yeah, we were due for a battering, and we got it. So that's all I can say about it.
It happens.
Yep.
We'll move on to JC.
Yeah, pretty similar, really. I mean, we've had a great run of 5 matches. We've gone I put on my match preview the 1 goal, 2 goal, 3 goal, 4 goal, 5 goal. We were never going to put 6 past them. I said 2.
But we were dreaming, weren't we?
Oh, of course, but you're going to, aren't you? I think like Dan's just said, you know, an unchanged lineup. It didn't look tired. It looked fatigued, and I think there's a difference. You know, they definitely looked like some of them just needed only a half, maybe, or they should have been taken off at earlier times in earlier matches. It just looked a bit fatigued, and Dan's quite right. You know, we've won. You know, we've had a really great April, and we've been found out a little bit. You know, Mad Dog's been brilliant, but it was clear from the get-go. You know, 45 seconds I think it was, that they meant business. This is it for them. This is it. You know, we've won the Carabao Cup, so we've got Europe guaranteed. I'd like to think we're going to finish top 4. This is it for them. You know, they have nothing else now to play for.
Still have the FA Cup, but they've got us to win a semi-final.
I don't think they're going to do anything there, though.
Really? Against Forest?
Really
Forest seem to have dropped off a little bit as well.
I think Forest are going to be more up for it now, because they've dropped down into 6th now. You know, and it might be quite difficult for both of them. I think it's literally, this is it. This is their one shot, really. You know, FA Cup gets them, I think, Europa League. If I'm wrong, I apologise.
Well, that's right. No, that's spot on.
They get some Europa
League,
and they both want this Champions League, and I think that's what they're really gunning for.
It's interesting you say that, because Villa obviously played a Saturday afternoon. Forest play Monday night against Spurs. And then the FA Cup semi-final is on Saturday, but Villa are also playing Man City on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that is a huge game, because
huge game. But
so what Villa's priorities are going to be? Is it going to be top 4, or is it going to be the Cup? Because they've got a better squad than us, let's face it. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying, but I still think they've got a good chance against Forest. It's at Wembley. It's a one-off. Look what we did against Liverpool. You know, we would go in there in hope, not in expectation, and maybe that's what the Villa fans are doing as well. And the Forest fans are probably think it's a 50-50 game, to be fair.
I think Villa fans will probably expect to win it more. But like you say, Forest are up for it. And I think Forest would take I spoke to being in Skegness, where I am, we have quite a lot of Notts Forest fans over this way who've moved over and things. A lot of them would take an FA Cup win over a Champions League.
A trophy's a trophy's a trophy.
Yeah,
we would as well. I mean, we said we'd take the Carabao Cup over the Champions League, and that's what could happen. We just don't know, but I still think we're going to finish top 5, which we'll come to. Jack?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, I like what JC and Dan said. It's, we're all similar in this. We're not unrealistic in our hopes. You know, when we look at a lineup and try and figure out, well, what's the score going to be, who's going to win, who's coming into this with a lot of momentum. Certainly, we were, but you know that it hits a rough patch every so often. For instance, you know, if you look at the past few games that we played, I'm sure teams were going, oh, Newcastle's going to just kill them. They're on fire, you know, but we're all human, and these guys are tired. It was a long week. It was too much to expect that we'd win all 3. We were hoping for a draw. I did predict we would win 3-2, but, you know, that went out the window in the first 35 seconds. and luckily, we responded. Really, the first half wasn't too bad. But once it started, it snowballed. And, you know, Villa, I know they're on a high. Some of their fans are a little bit too much right now on social media.
Oh, Jesus, honestly.
They were criticizing only a bad day in the office. We're just a better team. And it's like, you know, I pointed out, I said, yeah, well, we're still ahead of you. So maybe maybe it's a bad year in the office for you guys, you know, because you're not any higher. But yeah, you got to leave all that out, and you gotta not be too upset. As Newcastle fans, we've had an outstanding year, and I think we can bounce back from this. I think it was a good reality check. You know, we've still got 5 more matches, guys. You won a cup and you won a lot of games in a row, but we've still got 5 more matches, so you better buckle up. And I think with Bruno and some of the others, they admit, you know, Trippier was good online. Bruno was really good. Like, you know, hey, I come to realize, you know, if as long as we stay together, we'll bounce back. And we got a week now. You know, I was looking forward to this break because all the games line up the same as everybody else's pretty much, except for those that have Champions League or Europe competition. We're due some time in between games, which is going to help us. So I think we'll bounce back. Villic has got to watch out for what happened to us. They had an outstanding game against, in their European competition, and then they faced us and had an outstanding game. So they're going to Man City, or Man City's coming to them. I don't remember which, but they got to watch out.
Sure, they're away.
They're away down in Man. They're in Man
Yeah,
City.
Tuesday night away at 8 p.m.
Yeah, they better watch out there. But
so the fatigue on their side of things could come into play for that game. And then, as I said, they've obviously got the FA Cup and eye on the semi-final against Forest as well. So it's going to be very interesting how that game goes.
Yeah, it could kick in.
I would opine also, if we had a 3-game home stretch, if this match had been at St. James's instead, I think that would have given us a push in the right direction. I think the crowd would have gotten behind them. Everything. I think them being at home gave them a plus, and as soon as they got that early goal, they were just on top of us.
Yeah,
they're just it's as JC said. We were fatigued. I think after 3 matches in 6 days, I think the legs were not there. And as I said in the comments, you look at the quality of their substitutions versus our substitutions. I mean, we had Willock. We were able to bring Willock on.
And Gordon.
And Gordon. Well, but a Gordon that's, let's be honest, has been fairly lackluster since his injury. I think he's still being careful there. And went down fairly easily after he subbed on because he got bumped on the same hip. So he's being cautious. I know that Rashford's gotten his pile of shit over the season, but I mean, come on, he's been fantastic for Villa when he's been on. They brought him on, and we had Wilson again. Who is obviously already halfway to Dubai for the summer holiday. You could see it. And I question whether or not, if we know we're not going to get anything out of Callum Wilson, could we not have brought on an Asula just as a headless chicken, running with the power and the pace that he's got versus Callum Wilson? We'll hands up. We'll give Callum Wilson all the praise and everything for the goals that he scored for us, for the shifts that he's put in for us. But at 33 years of age, he's not even half the player he used to be. And
I agree with that.
and you look at it. We were fatigued. We were away from home, and it's been a long week. And I think everybody was happy to hear that Eddie had been discharged from hospital. And they're all looking forward to this week of getting back together and building the camaraderie again.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it was a home game. It might be a little bit different because the crowd would pull them through, but we had that in the last few games to pull us through, which helped.
100%.
I still think after the Palace game, we should really have more legs, with the substitutions, because we battered them. But welcome to Martin. So I did mention this on the watch along. I think I mentioned it. I've also mentioned it on Twitter. Me and Martin are going to be doing a show together once a week next season. He's kind of give away the name a little bit in one of his comments, so you want to go back and have a look and try and find it. It's going to be quite funny. Obviously, we've got Barcode Banter where we get a chance to do that. It's a bit of a play on the shirts. It's a bit of a play on the two clubs, the name's going to be. And I'm really pleased to be doing it. Martin's a great guy. Love talking to him. He talks good football, and obviously with us, I still think we're going to make Champions League football. And I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it'll make a great show once a week because we'll be talking about the Premier League, race for top 4 again, 5, and we'll also be talking about Champions League football. So, and congratulations to Martin as well, because he is going to go full-time on his YouTube channel because he's doing very well. So this also helps him to have more shows. We'll be doing it alternative from one channel to the other channel. So really looking forward to get going on that one next season, and we'll have some great ideas. We've got the Super 6 idea between the two channels, a forfeit at the end of the season for whoever loses. There'll be more stuff as well to come. So keep an eye out for that, because I think it's going to be a fun show.
Hey,
yes,
Baz, I want to mention this. You tell me if we're going to cover it later. One of the issues that sort of percolated up through social media especially was, the imbalance between the two teams when it comes to the bench. And
we'll definitely be talking about that.
How many resources they had to throw at us.
Yeah, 100% be talking about that. And I think we pretty much covered it already, but we will talk about it again. We'll talk about the action now. And like you mentioned, it was the worst start possible. Now, we could have scored the fastest goal in the Premier League against Palace had we not been offside. Was it Palace? I think it was. When Joe Linton had the ball in the net.
Yeah.
But this time, Villa did it to us. And again, it was a bit sloppy, poor clearance. Ball found itself to Ollie Watkins in the box. He took his shot. It was a weak shot. Takes a massive deflection off Cher and goes in the back of the net. Now, I'm not going to say what I want to say yet because I want to hear your guys' opinions first. Because I'm going to be very critical of a couple of players in this little section. So Dan, first of all, what did you make of their goal? Is there anything we could have done better?
We missed it because we're still changing channels from Harry Potter.
But I'm sure, being the wizard you are, you would have seen a replay.
We saw the replays. No, it was sloppy, and I'm sorry, but it pisses me off that Ollie Watkins gets credit for that goal.
Well, it was on target. That's why.
I know, but it took a massive deflection off the chair and went over Nick Pope's shoulder. So I mean,
I didn't even go. Didn't go anywhere near Nick Pope. It went. He dived one way, and the ball went in the corner.
Yeah, it was. It just. It was sloppy. It was Pat. It was.
There's my hint
again. 33 seconds. I hate when that happens. It just it sucks the wind out of our sails right at the beginning of the match, and it just goes, well, shit, this is going to be a day.
But the only thing I like about conceding early is that it gives you plenty of time to get back in the game.
Well, yes, you're not going to park the bus and say, okay, we'll take a 1-0 now. No, obviously not. But again, if that was an indication of how the match was going to go, you could tell that our guys were leggy. You could tell that our guys were going to struggle. I mean, there were some choice words amongst the defenders right after that, weren't there?
Yeah. Just a tad.
You could see reading some lips. There were some unhappy guys back there. So it was just unfortunate, and it had to be Ollie Watkins, and my buddy Paulie had to be straight on the text messages going, and I was just like, oh, crap. So, it was just unfortunate. Again, 33 seconds in, mass deflection, and giving ourselves a hill to climb right out of the gate. But as you said, there's like 89 minutes left to go, but it's not the way you want to start.
No, very frustrating. I give you a bit of a hint where I was going with my complaint, but you haven't caught it yet, which is quite good. So we'll go to JC.
Yep.
Let's see if you find out what I'm really unhappy about.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's two things. Number one is all the coverage. Now, granted, the players don't see that, but all the coverage before on Sky Sports was pinpointing Watkins. Everything was about Watkins.
It was. And
for me, we didn't do anything to close him down.
Yeah.
There wasn't a even if it was a foul, the conscientious foul, something. We just left him and let him just run that park, knowing that, because I think that puts him. Correct me. I think that puts him equal goal scorer for Villa now.
Yeah,
in the Premier League.
No, he scored 2, so he won better.
He's at the time it was 1, so he went equal with that 1. Nobody put that foot in. It just looked very lazy. Now, I haven't played football to a high standard. I've played local football. I played school football, fine. But I was always taught at school, your first 10 minutes, you keep it absolutely tight, and you don't let anything come through, because everybody's heads, you've got to find out where everybody is. But we didn't even wake up. The ball came in, and like you say, I mean, to be fair to them, it was a well-worked-ish goal. Very lucky, incredibly fortunate to have got the wicked deflection. I agree a little bit with Dan. It was on target, but I think the direction it took it a very different direction, which for me probably should put it in the OG category.
But then you're taking away a few goals from Alan Shearer then, and every other striker that's played the game, and then he doesn't get his record.
I think there's a difference between a slight deflection.
Oh, I've seen some big ones for Shearer as well.
But we just
we didn't have VAR then.
But we didn't wake up, and nobody put that tackling on Watkins and put anything in on him, or pressured him, or bullied him, or anything. And that, for me, that's the criminal. That's the criminal part of that first minute or two. Then once it's too late. Then he's already scored. Then we have to start and wake up. We're already 1-0 down. Then, for me, it just wasn't good enough at the back. Getting that tackling and setting our stall out, saying, "Look, we don't care." Don't get me wrong. Ollie Watkins is a great player. You know, I'm not going to deny that. But we didn't set our stall out and say, "Listen, I don't care how good you are. This is how we're going to set up. This is what we're going to do. Somebody's going to be on you. They're going to bully you. They're going to push you. You know, they're going to get physical with you," because he doesn't like the physicality. Ollie Watkins is like a Jack Grealish. He'll dance around with the ball. You give him a bit of physicality, put a bit of Dan Burn on him, or a good Joe Linton tackle, he will back off a mile. But we didn't do it, and it cost us.
Interesting. Still not picked up what I'm not happy about. Mr. Jack.
Yeah, I want to echo something JC said. You know, we weren't awake yet. You know, it's like we let them come at us, and it was just you. Sometimes you can see. You've watched Newcastle for years. You see this pattern of, oh no, yeah. And it's like something bad is going to happen right out of this, and it's too early. No, and we didn't assert ourselves in that first 10 minutes. You know, in my mind, and you know, in the room before you go out, you should be getting yourself psyched up. Look, they're going to come at us. Okay, they've been laying here waiting for us, and that's how teams. You know, when they come to St. James, that's what they face is Newcastle's going to come at us. And that's exactly what they did. And fair credit to them, really. But yeah, it was sloppy. It was like we weren't ready to set up to defend. And they got a goal, an easy goal early. So, yeah, I knew, well, we got a lot of time to come back, but it looked kind of, I was surprised, actually. We got you know, when Cher got the header and we
come to that later. Come to that later. Yeah, come on, John. Just talk about the first goal.
Yeah, well, I was just darn it. You know, I didn't have anything to say. It was just we weren't awake. We weren't ready. We didn't set up correctly.
That's a good point, John. JC, sorry, in the background there, who's just typed something in, slightly afraid of them, potentially. I don't know if that's you typing or whether it's your missus typing, I don't know. Right, it's none of you have picked up on it. It's two things. When the ball gets played to Ollie Watkins, there's actually two Villa players who could have got that ball. There was nobody around them. That is the very first frustrating thing of it, because two of them could have got in and scored. It was too easy. The second one is, when Ollie Watkins scores for the far corner, he hasn't hit it well. There's still a long way for that ball to travel, but before it hits Shaw, it's actually quite close, but there's a long way to travel to the goalkeeper from Shaw's point of view to where the keeper is. So why is Nick Pope committed himself so early to dive the other way? So to me, I think Nick Pope is very, very highly at fault for that goal, because if he waits until the ball's took the deflection, he's just comfortably saving that. But because he dived so early when he saw where the ball was potentially going, he's then flat-footed himself, and he's got no chance of getting into the other corner. Now, I've seen goalkeeper drills a lot online, and they're fierce at what they do, the way they have these padded walls with dots on them, they throw the ball off and they could go anywhere. So he's trained for this. He knows before that ball gets past Shaw, there's a potentially it could take a deflection. But he's already committed himself before the ball even hit Shaw. There was no need to commit himself because there was plenty of time. So I'm sorry, but I think Nick Pope flat-footed himself and he made the error.
I think you're right, Baz. But I would say is I think he's probably expected it to come a lot quicker. The actual speed of the shot to come a lot quicker. The share part has slowed it down somewhat. Looking for
I'd rather him get beat in that corner by power if the ball gets past Shaw. You've got to let the ball get past Shaw before you commit yourself as a goalkeeper, because you make yourself look silly with the flat foot. That was my opinion on it when I saw it, and I went, why did he dive early? And that is so unlucky as well at the same time, because it was a massive deflection, let's face it. But yeah, very frustrating. And let's face it, it got worse. I mean, Ollie Watkins then has a left-footed effort, which was just absolutely sublime. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be one of those games. Again, it was down the left-hand side, too easy. And when he got into the box, you don't expect the keeper to get beat at his near post. But he hit that so well. And if it was just half an inch the other side of the post, it was crossbar, sorry, just a little bit lower, that would have been 2-0 at that point. And then he had the header from the corner, which flush on the post. And I was thinking, maybe it is our day. Hit the post twice.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be our day. And then we get our chance, don't we? Which was it was quite well worked. It was Harvey Barnes down the left-hand side. He feigns to go down the side, decides to cut it back. He floated a beautiful ball to the back post. You couldn't have asked for a better cross. And Cher was just perfectly placed, perfect header down in between the keeper's legs. The keeper can't really adjust himself quick enough. And it's in the back of the net, and it's 1-1. And then we all started to think maybe this could swing our way, Dan.
Sorry, I had to come off mute. 100%. No, and there was a redeeming factor there for Cher. I mean, to have that heavy deflection for the opening goal, he had to be the one to put us right, and he did it. It was a fantastic header, as you said, went right between Martinez's legs. And I'm sorry, I just can't stand Emi Martinez. I think he bugs the crap out of me. And I reminded everybody in the pub. I went up to the front of the room and said, when Cher scored the equalizer, I reminded everyone why we disliked him so much. And all I did was lean back and put my hands down, because that World Cup celebration still pisses me off to this day.
Yeah. No doubt.
What a prick, literally. But no, I was happy. I was, as you say, getting an equalizer like to like kill everybody. Sorry. Exactly. And when I did it, my there was a whole bunch of laughter, and of course Tara, my missus, was like, "What was that about?" And then her father leans over and says, "He was the guy with the trophy."
Yeah. Yeah, he had the golden glove, didn't he? It was the golden glove because he kept the most clean sheets.
Yeah, it still doesn't mean that to prick. But yeah, for my father-in-law to have to explain that was funnier than shit. But no, I was happy to see it, and then thinking, okay, maybe we've got our legs back under us. Maybe we've got a chance here. But again, I have. It
was very nip and tuck the first half, wasn't it? Though very nip and tuck.
Yep. And I thought, let's go into the half this way. Mad Dog's gonna have a go at him in the locker room. He's gonna tell him what we've done wrong, what we need to do right, and what we have to do to press on. I thought we were in with a chance. And I was very happy for a draw. My score prediction was right at halftime, so I was thrilled. Let's just keep it at this. See if we can nip a quick one. Barnes is having a hell of his form over the last 4 or 5 matches has been spot on. And he's keeping Gordon out of the side, on merit, which is what we want for him. We've been ultra critical of Barnes over the season simply because he's the first.
He hadn't shown enough, did he? When he came in and had his opportunities, he just didn't do anything. But then when he got a run, he settled into it, didn't he?
Yeah. No, and that's unfortunate for the lad because he does get fits and starts because Gordon was in such fantastic form. Yeah. Once he started to get a run on the side and was able to get his feet under him, he's really shown what he's capable of. Let's be honest, a bunch of us he's at the top of the outgoing pile this summer when we start thinking of who could we sell to get money, because 38 million we got him for, we could turn around and make a profit on him.
Potentially.
I wouldn't sell him now. I mean, he's absolutely shown that he's a starting quality winger, and he like Gordon, sadly they're both inverted wingers.
Yeah.
But as I've said on this show all season, Gordon is our Swiss Army knife. He can play anywhere on the front three. He can play at the 9 if necessary. He can play on the right. And Barnes has shown that he could do that for Leicester. Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, how Leicester would want to have him back right now.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But not after today. They
No.
can't afford him.
Couldn't afford his wages.
But exactly. I got my hopes up. That's all I can say is I had my hopes up at halftime because I was confident in my score prediction, and I thought we can hold them now and maybe sneak a winner out of this.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. I was thinking I said 2-2. I was thinking, oh, we've got ourselves back into the game. This is going to be interesting. JC, looking at the stats at halftime, they had 2 big chances. They took one of them. We had 1 big chance. We took ours. I mean, they're not classing the shot that hit the crossbar as a big chance because that was just a rocket. They had 10 shots in total. We had 7. Both keepers made 1 save, which is quite incredible, really, when you think about the chances and efforts that were put on goal. It really was nip and tuck at halftime, and then we were just glad to be back in the game. We worked our socks off to get back into the game, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and you're quite right. If you're the neutral, you're watching with no interest really. You're watching that game, and it's a cracking game of football, and quite end to end. Not end to end as in lots of shots and opportunities, but that grinding down, that very entrenched kind of football, and that midfield battle, which was, as a neutral, it would have been brilliant. We worked our way back into it. I think that's what took it out of us. Is it took a lot. I think if we'd come back a bit soon and a bit quicker, and got ourselves up, we might have had a bit of a chance. But we didn't. It was that midfield battle. It felt all the way up to half time. Couple of decent chances either side, and like Dan said, Cher took the goal really well. Nice to. I don't like to use the word redeem and redemption, but maybe he felt that a little bit as well. From there, I love Fabian Cher. I think he's such a great player. I really do. Yeah. He's one of those a little bit like BDB when he first joined. I thought, who is he much? But he's grown into that role a bit more and gone from there. So it was very, nip and tuck is the exact words to use for it. It could have gone either way. It's one of those times where it could have been. It went in 1-1, but it could have gone in 4-4.
Yeah,
quite easily.
Maybe 4-2.
John, you think the timing of our goal? You think if we had gotten an equalizer in the first 10 minutes, it would have been a much different half?
I think it would have been. Yeah, I think we expended a lot of energy chasing that and trying to get that back. And Michael's just put it. Well, it's just come up there. Look, they are a very, very good side, and they are very. Unai Emery has got them very well drilled defensively, and it was always going to be tough to break down. I think if we'd managed to come back quicker and hit them quicker on the break, we may have made it a little bit easier for ourselves. But I think we expended a lot of energy on trying to get that equaliser.
Yeah, I'll tell you the other thing that was a little bit. I mean, we're not saying that we expect to win every game, Michael. I hope you're reading the room well here. Us as a panel. We just want to talk about what went wrong in the game because otherwise we wouldn't have a show to do. That's why we do it. But we didn't expect to beat Villa. We all thought it might be a draw if we were lucky. But there's a stat in the second half and even in the first half. Tackles. I didn't see us really flying into tackles. I think Dan, you alluded to that. But Jack, Shaw got himself a very silly yellow card. It was definitely a yellow card. Potentially, if the ball was better, it could have been a red card because if it hadn't gone straight through to Pope, we could have been looking at a sending off at that point as well. But that was what Ollie Watkins did brilliantly against us that we couldn't handle. He got on the shoulder of the last man. He knew he had the pace on Dan Burn and on Cher. He wasn't going to battle them back to goal. I'm running in behind you, and I'm going to cause you problems, and you're going to have to try and catch me. And I thought that's what did us, especially in the first half, and why he got his chances that he got.
Yeah, I think, if you go back a couple games, the last few games, the defense and the midfield were just awesome.
In sync, weren't they?
And today, or yesterday, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't. And and they just exploited us. They really did. And it seems like, how there's a bad pass or something, and you get back in your position and you defend or whatever. It just seemed like they were going all around us. It just they were the better team. I can't say anything really bad. It just wasn't our day. It was their day. So
yeah, it was. I mean, when we're not making excuses, we're just, we knew we were beaten by a better team on the day, basically.
Yeah, I actually, though, going into the match, I said we can win this, and I predicted we would win 3-2. I thought there'd be more goals for us, but it didn't turn out that way at all. It just wasn't our day. And I really thought, we haven't said anything about this, but I thought Isak had a lot of opportunities in the game before, and finally got one at the end at Crystal Palace, and I thought he was just going to break out, and we would get him the ball, and but he just seemed like everyone. He seemed a bit off the pace.
We're going to come to that later, John. We're going to go through this. We're going to go through the emotions of the 90 minutes first before we start.
Okay, keep going.
Part and stuff like that. So we come into the second half. We're about to make a change, and then Villa score. It was just one of those days when nothing really went right for us, because, John, you are right. I would have made substitutions a lot earlier, because after you could see the legs weren't in the players in the second half. We were struggling. But I tell you, the really frustrating thing about their second goal, it reminded me of Newcastle of last season.
Yeah.
They were all too high up. Martinez noticed that, played a ball straight through the midfield, bypassed everyone on the press. They turned one pass out to the left, one ball into the channel, and the ball was in the back of the net. And that caught, the one person who really got caught out was Trippier, because he found himself in the middle of the park and he vacated the right back position. And then Murphy's like, holy crap, I'm too far up here. I can't get back in cover. And their left back just went, boom, I'm having this. And he finished it brilliantly for his first ever Premier League goal. No doubts about it. It was a very, very well worked goal, but it was very avoidable from our position.
Yeah.
And it was very like us last season, and it has been this season. Tonali seemed to have been too high up where he normally does the six with things like that. I mean, there were so many things that I felt was wrong with that second goal.
100%.
That's how I picked a part of it. And that's the frustrating thing, because I was like, that's not the Newcastle we know this season.
And that's what I was saying. I'm sorry. That's what I was saying about the midfield and the defense was rock solid the last few games. And right there, they're just shooting right down the middle. It was like, no.
Not again. Not this again. Do not do this to us again.
No, and the young man, the Wolves fan that comes every Saturday to watch, he said, he at halftime said, this has been a very entertaining game of football to watch as a neutral. I have no interest in this game whatsoever, but he says it was a great game to watch. That goal, first of all, again, hats off to Maatsen for scoring his first. What a goal to score! He, as Bad said, I'm having this, and he took his chance and he got it. But yeah, you could see the build up from there. That it had to be Martinez.
Free passes. That's all it was.
Exactly. It was just so quick, and there was so many opportunities to do something about it, but we were caught flat-footed. We were too high up. As you said, Murphy turns around and goes, "Oh crap, I'm not where I'm supposed to be."
Yeah.
It was a well-worked goal by Villa. You could tell that Emery has got them well trained to do exactly that. He saw Martinez, saw the opportunity and did it, and it was a great taken goal. Yep,
it was absolutely brilliant taken goal. Is this your wife or your daughter? Before
no, it's
you, right? I'm gonna have to derail you then. Age is just a number. And I'll tell you why, because when you lose a bit of pace as a footballer, which we've all done in our time, me especially,
I did.
Your brain, well, there you go then. Your brain takes over. And if your brain's still fast on a football field, you have still got half a yard in you because of your positional sense. That's what Trippier has lived on all this season.
Absolutely.
And what Dan Burn's done and what Shaw's done, they've been so good and been having Tonali with the legs to help out in that number 6 role when he stays back. That has been the key. So we've got legs, and Livermento's got legs, and Hall's got legs. So
you're right, but it comes back to that fatigue a little bit. having those few years when you've got. I mean, I know they're not exactly a young. It's not exactly a young front four from Villa, but as young as it could be. But those 3 games in a week, we've not changed. We've done some subs. Yes, you can take the step back and give them an extra couple of yards to for your brain to work, as Trips does. But I think when you get to the 3rd game in 7 days, that's where that age and that fatigue does start to fit in, and become a factor.
Yeah, I get that. I do get it, but I also just think if you're a clever footballer, you know, like I said, that second goal said to me, there were, I don't know, we weren't even chasing the game at that point. That's what was so frustrating about it. I don't mind being caught out like that when it's the 4th or 5th goal because you're chasing the game. But when you're at 1-1 and you have Trippier out of position and everyone too far forward and you get played right through the middle of you again, that's just so frustrating. And then 2 becomes 3, doesn't it? I mean, we make our sub, Gordon comes on. We didn't really have any impact. We got in down our left-hand side, and it's an own goal. This one's definitely an own goal, Dan. You don't have to worry about this one. And it was, it looks so clumsy, didn't it, off Dan Burn, the way it went into the bottom corner. Again, too easy though, getting down our right-hand side, just like Sean said on our preview show. The Villa fan said we will target your right-hand side. We've got the pace down there, and he was right. And it same area. Same sort of goal, really, in a way. Low cross, poor deflection, though. I felt sorry for Dan Burn because he didn't deserve that.
Well, he turned the air blue. I mean, he was not happy with that at all.
No.
So, and it's just a bad day getting worse as it happened. You know, all I could do. Everybody in the room was turning around, looking at me, and I just started shaking my head. What do you say at that point? You know, it was. It was. I
was like, please don't be 4, 5, or 6. We need our goal difference to be good.
Exactly. It was regrettable, but at the same time, you're just sitting there going, crap. So, you know, it was not our day, and it wasn't going to be our day.
Not when something like that happens.
No, and at that point in the match, you're just sitting there. There's no coming back for it. There's no coming back from it. It doesn't matter what subs we throw on. We're just not going to get the rhythm back in order to equalize this. 2-1, you know, there's always a chance. We've got some quality on the bench. We can bring it off, you know, but to give up a sloppy goal like that, all you can do is put your head in your hands and go, well, let's keep it from being a rout. As long as we keep it from being a rout, we'll be all right. Exactly. That was a little preview.
I love it. Yeah, Michael, I kind of agree with that. When Gordon comes on, you know, Barnes goes over to the right, Gordon stays on the left. Why not throw Gordon on the right and see what he does?
Yep.
I get that.
That's actually a good point, because it's like, you know, it would say, hey, everybody has to earn their spot back, and that's why you're on that side. You know, so that would be a fair thing.
I agree with that. JC, the 4th goal, I mean, again, comical errors. We could have had about 5 or 6 before this point. I mean, Nick Pope made a great one-on-one save where he stood and just handed one out, stood tall. But Owana slammed that in the top corner, didn't he? There was no stopping that.
No, you know, I don't think any keeper in the world, even that stupid Martinez, as Dan said earlier, that had me in bits, that did, honestly. I think that's the greatest semi character assassination I think I've ever heard. But no, it was well taken, and I think by then our heads had gone down. We'd kind of resigned to the fact. I might sound like a broken record. I still come back to the fatigue part. You know, they were shattered. And you could tell by then it was a well taken goal. You're right. He smashed it in, but we could have done more previously to have prevented or helped to try to prevent that from happening. You know, we move on. We've got Ipswich next.
Let's talk about that later.
All right,
let's not jump ahead. Let's not jump ahead. That was obviously the end of the game. A couple of points to take from it. John, obviously, you mentioned one which I did want to talk about. What is sort of going on with Isak at the moment? Is it the service? Or was he just not at the races yesterday? Because he never really looked in the game, did he, that much? He found himself very far out on the right-hand side a lot.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think he was. He's either nursing an injury or he's just tired. Like everybody should be actually. He's played some good ball in the last several games, and he had so many chances in that Crystal Palace game, and they just didn't go his way until the end. We got an easy one because of Joe Linton, but yeah, he didn't he didn't look like he was really involved in the game very much, and I would say Murphy and Harvey have been giving him good balls too. I don't remember seeing that much yesterday, but he's getting things in front of him. So, but yesterday it was just like an off day for everybody. It was not good. What's that?
Dan's put he's carrying his groin, so
yeah.
Yep. But not like Martinez did. I mean, that's a different one. That's it. No. You could see that as John said, as Jack said, sorry, there's two Johns now. As Jack said, you could tell that he's dealing with something, and we know that he's been carrying a groin injury for the last couple of, so he's being ginger with it. We haven't seen the bursts of speed that we know that Isak's got available in his tank. We haven't seen. We just haven't been able to get him into the match, and I don't know. Bruno was over hitting passes yesterday.
Yeah,
everyone was, weren't there? Nobody was on it, and Joe Linton got his yellow card.
yeah.
I wish I put a bet on that.
But now he's free. Now, right? They're cleared, so now he's good to go for the rest of the season.
If he gets a yellow in every game, he misses the start of the season. So he needs to stay away for one more game. Just one more game.
Okay.
And then he can nail as many people as he wants.
And Dan Byrne is on 9 now.
Well, he's fine because he'll be fine till the end of the season now.
Okay. All right.
So he can nail as many people as he wants. But
hey, Baz, I want to make a point on Isak.
Go on.
A lot of times sports teams here, they try to hide an injury and they try to put their star players out there. And there's a reason for that, because if you put Isak out there, that frees up everybody else in the front because they've got to cover him. He's like, there's a rattlesnake out here. We got to watch this guy, so they're going to cover him. And that frees up Harvey Barnes and Tino and Gordon when he's in there, and Jacob Murphy, and even Tonali rushing up. So, yeah, it's almost like they're going to try and limp through the rest of the season with him out there as much as he can deal with, and then we'll see in the summer it'll come out whether he's really suffering or not.
Yeah, I like this from a Villa fan, James. Good lad. Big up panel, buzzing for yesterday. Top 5 is yours already. Baz, big to you and the panel. UTV, let's break the cartel. So-called Big Six is dead now. It absolutely is. I mean, Man United and Spurs, where the hell are they?
I think just a quick one, Baz, sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's about, we had 51% possession yesterday, I think, overall. And there just lacked to be that final, Isak, we saw against Manchester United, that ball came in, he flicked it over and laid it off from there. But I think he thrives on service as well.
Yeah, of course he does.
And if he's not got that, there didn't seem to be much service at all yesterday. It was shut down completely, or almost, 85, 90% shut down. When he's not got that service, Jack's right. You put him on there because it probably takes 2 players out and frees other people up, even if he's carrying an injury or whatever. But when he's not got the service, he can't do anything.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And like I said, he just seemed to have. But he found himself out on the right wing a lot as well. He just didn't seem to be able to out-muscle the back line. There was just something not right. I mean, the whole team was off really, wasn't it?
Baz, going back to the point about the Villa giving us credit, who was, I don't remember who the fan was, but I agree with him. It's like, I want to see Villa make it too. So yesterday I wanted them to lose, but in terms of finishing in the Champions League, like us, I'd rather have them up there than
100%.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be
all the best to them the rest of the year.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. as long as they finish below us.
Right.
But the second half, the stats show we were outclassed, to be honest with you. We actually give away. Well, actually, we had more of the ball, in the second half. And I think that's what Villa wanted. They wanted us to be higher because they knew they had the pace to get in behind us. Yep. They created 3 big chances. They had 13 shots in that second half, and we had 3. Their keeper only had to make 1 save. Our keeper made 5. Tackles. This is the one that really, we never see our team normally get out-battled. We were yesterday, 12 tackles to our 4. Now, that is not like us because we love putting a foot in. You could see Bruno was getting very agitated. He was getting really angry. He gave away some silly free kicks. He got a silly yellow card. He was just, the whole team was frustrated, really, at the end of the day.
And then we brought on Wilson.
Yeah. And then we brought on Wilson. We brought on Willock. We brought on. I'll tell you what, when Kraft came on, I was actually very impressed with Kraft again. I think, sometimes when you talk about leggy legs, things like that, Kraft should have came on much earlier for sure. We've got to start putting our trust in him because he did it a lot last season and did a very, very good job as well.
Yeah, he's still a good player. Still a good player.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one thing. Obviously, Ollie Watkins got man of the match. But and I know Dan's really going to hate me for saying this, but I thought Martinez deserved man of the match.
Boo hiss. Boo hiss. Pantomime villain.
This is the difference between the 2 goalkeepers. This is what we want from our goalkeeper. The way he plays the ball out with his feet is exceptional.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the passes he played through our midfield in the channels to Ollie Watkins, which created chances just from one pass, missing out the midfield. I thought his distribution yesterday was second to none. He only got a 7.1 rating, which I do not know how he managed to get such a low rating. But 22 out of his 35 passes were successful. He had 1 key pass in the game. He successfully made 11 long passes out of 24. Wow. And I honestly think he deserved man of the match yesterday because I thought he was exceptional at that side of the game. He let in a goal, but he was never saving it. But that was my take on it. I thought he was one of the big reasons why Villa got a lot of chances is because they sucked us in, and he had the talent to be able to play like the City goalkeeper, for example, or the Liverpool goalkeeper. I'm going to ping this out to my striker, and I know he's going to be able to hold this up because no one was near him. Like you mentioned, Dan Burn wasn't tight enough because they were afraid of his pace, and that was the problem. That's what caught us all game.
I think that's the type of keeper that they are. When you look at all of those, Edison, Alisson, and Martinez, I think they're all South American. So it's that playing. I can't stand playing for the back. I hate it. It. Oh, I hate it.
Oh, I do when we do it when Pope's in goal.
just lump it. Good old route 1 English football, straight up the middle. That's what I was brought up on. But the
problem with that is we've got Isak up front who doesn't like to jump and doesn't like to head the ball.
No, I know that's true. But they play it so beautiful, so it's graceful almost.
Yeah,
the way that they play for the back. They're not keepers. They don't use these anymore. Right. You could almost have them without hands anymore. It's an
11th foot field player. Yep.
Yeah, that distribution from the back is key, and I think you're right. If we could have somebody like that could, it's an extra. As much as Tino, as much as Trips can play a ball, Gordon, when you've got that extra man that can play a ball like Martin, Alisson, or Edison do, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I actually get excited when I see Pope catch the ball, run, and look like he's going to throw, and then he goes, "No, just everybody go." And I'm like, "Oh, come on! You got Tino. You got
Roll it out to Tino.
Get it to him. It frustrates the heck out of me. That's the one thing I'm critical about. I want to see us break because when we do, we give the other team fits. So you're right, JC. I'd like to see more distribution from the back right away from the
a lot faster. And let's face it, he does get the options. People do spread quickly to get the ball out to them. And sometimes you just think, oh my God, what have you done, Pope? He's away.
Yeah.
Frustrating, very frustrating. But that's just how the game went. It was one of those days. It was a bad day at the office. It's a bump in the road.
Yep.
We've got our points, though. This was the thing. Coming up to this Villa game, we all said if we win our 3 games, the Brentford game, Palace game was the most important one. And the Leicester game, we said if we get 9 points from there, we are flying. So the Villa game was just a chalk it off. They've only got beat once this season at Villa Park. Yes, they've drawn a few, but they've been fantastic at their ground. All credit to them. Like I say, we're not going to shy away or hide away. They were brilliant. But it's made the table. What really frustrated me today is I watched the Fulham-Chelsea game. And Fulham for 45 minutes were all over Chelsea and only scored 1 goal. They had another goal disallowed for offside. And it was tight. And then Chelsea ended up winning it in the last frigging minute. And it just gives them a bit of glimmer of hope, even though they're playing so badly at the moment. They deserved it in the second half, I'm not going to lie. But Fulham could have been out of sight, which is the frustrating thing. And this is what the table now looks like. It's so tight. Look at Forest. Considering Forest were third at one point, they're now down to 6th outside of the Champions League places with a game in hand. Now, the problem is with their game in hand, yes, it's the way to Spurs, I believe, on Monday night. But Spurs aren't fussed about the Premier League anymore. They're more fussed about the Europa League semi-final that they're in. Just like Man United were today, they rested a lot of players against Wolves, which is why I'm not really taking the mick too much about Man United losing, because they got other priorities, which is fair enough. But they're away to Spurs. Spurs have got their minds on other things. Is Ange going to play a full team against Forest, or is he going to rest players after a big Thursday night? It's going to be a very interesting game to watch on Monday night. And Villa, obviously 7th, with 57. Chelsea with 57. Goal difference could make a huge part in it, which is very frustrating that we shipped in 4 goals, 3 off our goal difference, which is now the same as Chelsea's, but they're 2 points behind us. Villa playing Man City. The results could go our way before Ipswich, and we could be buoyant, and we could be 5 points ahead of Villa again. Points might not go our way, and we might find Man City get a point, Villa get a point, and then Man City are level with us, and Villa are only 1 point behind us, instead of maybe being 5 points behind us by Saturday. It's such an interesting run-in. I still think we get Champions League football, though, because we've got 3 very winnable home games. We win those home games, and then no one can catch us. What does everyone else think? Who wants to go first?
I think it's still possible, Baz. I really do. I think we're sitting in a good spot. And you're right. We've got 3 home games. That's going to help tremendously. We have to bounce back. I know Ipswich has got the lowest record of the teams we're going to play, right, in the next 5 games. But you cannot take them lightly, and we have to really show up and win that game, put it back on track, and then we'll look at these next 4 after that in a much better light. So we really got to bounce back.
Absolutely.
I think we'll take all of our chances against Ipswich next weekend. I think.
Yeah.
I think we could add on to JC's graphic in his prediction. It's very possible to get a load of goals against Ipswich, especially at home. And then of course we're looking. I like the fact that we're going to play Chelsea at home as well.
I hate the time for that game, but yes.
Well, and it's only because of how well they did in their cup competitions. We had to get moved because of that. Yeah. I'm again, as Baz said, this was a blip. We could see a blip coming. We just didn't know which one was going to be. This was probably the most obvious one.
Yeah.
but I'm looking forward to the home matches that we've got left in the season. Jack and I, of course, will be at the last one against Everton, so we're looking forward to that one.
I'll be at Chelsea also. That's when I'm pissed.
That's when you'll be back.
Time.
Well, I'm saying our destiny is in our own hands. If you're looking at that at the table there, Liverpool's running away with it. Arsenal is now buoyed by their progress in the Champions League, but at the same time, they've got that in their sights as well. So we may see them have a wobble. I said in the comments that the Man City Villa game coming up on Tuesday, I'm kind of rooting for Man City, but at the same time, as I'm looking at that table, I'm sitting there going, I wouldn't be upset if Villa was able to do it, because again, we're breaking up the top six. Watching Man City and Chelsea, sink, while a Forest and a Villa join Newcastle in the top six. That would be fun to watch. So
I'd like a
I think
draw
we're in
there
good shape.
too.
Yep.
I mean, it's a tough one. It's a good question from Michael, this JC. What result would you rather see? I mean, I know obviously we've had the Villa fan in, and he is right. It's nice to see us break up the top six.
Yeah.
But from the point of view of us finishing the top five and forgetting about everybody else, Rob, would be better for City to win it. And then that, we beat Ipswich on Saturday. That's 5-point gap between Newcastle and Villa again.
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously seeing there, City have got a plus 4 goal difference on us. That 1 point puts them above. We're still in that top 4. Villa creeping back up. I mean, we've got the superior goal difference, but I'd rather keep the points down, and keep them away that sort of way. City, I've got that plus 4, so that's an extra point to them anyway. So I think rather see a draw would be perfect. I think, in all terms. But if City did go away and romp it and score 2, win whatever, then it wouldn't bother me too much. I've just been looking. Obviously, we've got, like you say, we've got Ipswich on Saturday. They're almost down. They're 15 points behind, and they've got 20 different goal difference compared to West Ham, just above them. So they've got to have a 21 goal swing without West Ham anymore. Essentially they're down. So we've got a real chance to put them down. But then looking at the Chelsea fixtures, I mean, that's the only one that I slightly worry about. Brighton are no longer, they've got nothing to play for anymore. They're mid-table, done and dusted. But Chelsea, they've got the 2 conference leagues against Geordie. They've got to play Liverpool at home before they play us. So their season could be done and dusted, essentially almost, before we've got that game
against them.
Against them. So that, their mind's going to be elsewhere, because they're like, I think I'm right in saying, in the Conference League, if you win that, like the Europa League, you go up to the next level. So
that's right.
They win that, they'll go to the Europa. So they're going to want to do that to bank on that, getting Europe, because I think they're starting to probably think, are we going to get this? Forest are still knocking there. Villa are still knocking. Obviously, Chelsea have got the better goal difference, but I'd like to see City win, I think, on Tuesday. That takes a little bit of pressure off us a little bit, because it knocks Villa's goal difference down a little bit more as well.
It's going to be interesting for Forest as well, because they play on either Saturday or Sunday, but they play Monday, but they're going to have a game in hand. Is that right? Yeah, they're going to have a game in hand, because City are playing, Villa are playing midweek, but Forest aren't. Forest are kind of playing midweek because they're playing Monday Night Football, but that's this weekend's fixtures. So they play in the FA Cup. They then still got to make a game up. So they're going to have a bit of a fixture congestion themselves, potentially, with, tired legs, pressure. Everyone thought Forest were, I did, when they were sitting third, I thought no one's catching Forest. And they've started to drop off, and now look where they are. And I think that the pressure's getting to them. And also being in the FA Cup is a massive distraction, Dan.
Agreed. Yep.
And crucially, they still got to play Chelsea at City Ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's not going to be easy. They've still got some really toughish games. They finished with Chelsea. That's the last game of the season for them. But they still got to play
Thursday, the May the 1st, is their game in hand against Brentford at home.
That's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
The rest of them, Palace could be a bit tough for them. That sort of, the sort of similar teams, gritty. The rest are not walkovers, there's no such thing, but they should be relatively simple for them. But it's going to come down, I think, between Chelsea and Forest for that fifth place on the last game of the season.
Yeah. And I mean, the good thing for us is our last game of the season is home to Everton, and they'll be on the beach.
Yeah.
I hope so. They seem to get revved up to play us, and they've had a pretty good year, but much better than last year.
Oh, well, David Moyes has rejuvenated them, haven't they? So, I mean, that's the only reason why. And West Ham are looking at that now, going, "What the hell did we sack him for?" But there we go. It's just, grass isn't always greener, is it?
And let's be honest. He's Northwest true and true.
He is. Yeah.
Preston North End. He's an Everton guy, and that's why he went back there. He knows what they're capable of. He is going to be absolutely champion at the bit to play in the new stadium. So I mean, it's going to be. Moyes is looking after denting his reputation for a bit with Man United and whatever the Spanish side was that he was at. He was rebuilding it at West Ham, and then for whatever reason, West Ham just lost their shine on him and let him go. I think this is exactly the move that Moyes needs, and I think Everton's going to be something to watch next season. So
he wants to target European football next year.
Exactly.
So it all depends on what they're allowed to spend and what PSR is like for them, because as we all know, they were in trouble, weren't they? So it depends if they've sorted that out or not.
And I feel the same way about Nuno at Forest. I mean, I think he also took a little bit of a. Well, he also took a little bit of a bump when he went to Spurs. I'm glad to see him up there, and he has signed some great players, and they're playing great football. So it's been an exciting season for all of us. I think we're in our own driver's seat. I think we have to do what we can do. Did anybody watch the Brentford Brighton match yesterday? We had that on the pub. Did everybody see how that ended?
I saw a bit of that. Brighton player has been sent off, João Pedro, so he's missing the game.
Yep.
They got beat 4-2. There was a bit of a scrap at the end, wasn't there?
Oh, there was knocking of heads, and the Brighton defender was down for a good 8 minutes. They had to stretcher him off, and he was on oxygen. Concussion protocol.
Concussion. Yeah, he won't play as well.
Yep. So I mean, I'm sitting there looking like JC said. I think they're done and dusted. They want their season to end now. I don't think it didn't go the way they wanted it to. So I'm just looking at our fixture list going, I think we've got results in the tank. I think we're going to take this week to rejuvenate. I think we're spending a lot of time in the at least we're not in the wheelie bins anymore for the ice baths. I think we're going to spend a lot of time recuperating, rejuvenating, and we're going to come out flying against Ipswich on Saturday next. So
I'll give you that. So I'll ask the question which was put into our group, and I think it's a great question. I'm not saying it's not being a great season or I'm trying to attack it or nothing like that, but if we don't get Champions League football, would you see that as a disappointing season?
No, I would not. I would not at all. I would be personally disappointed because I think right now we're on the doorstep. So I'd be disappointed. But to say it was a disappointing season would be so wrong. No, not at all.
100%. At the beginning of the season, when we all were taking ballots, we were sitting there going, "Would you take a cup and lose out on Champions League?" Well, we got the cup. If we can get the cup and Champions League, we're going to be flying. If we have to give up Champions League, if we lose out on Champions League by merit, if we just don't come up with the goods over the next 5 matches and we go out in that way, it's not been a disappointing season. We got a trophy, guys, and exactly. We may be poo-pooed on that trophy by so many others from so many other clubs. It doesn't matter. It's still a trophy. It's a trophy that we won, a domestic trophy, first time in 7 decades, a trophy of any kind in 56 years. Again, the 4 of us have seen a trophy now where some generations didn't get to see that at all. So it was a successful season all around, but I think we're still in with a shout.
Yep. Absolutely agree. JC?
Yeah, I think exactly the same. You know, if you look at it, at some point this season, we'd gone down to 12th or something. We hit a real rocky patch.
Yeah.
And to have bounced back, you know, somebody put it in the chat earlier. I saw it, hashtag bounce back ability.
Yeah, that was
love
Jules.
that. Do you know, that's a word I love using with the kids at school. But in fact, we've more than bounced back. We've come through. We've won the Carabao Cup. We've won a domestic trophy. We got to the quarter final, I believe. No, the fifth round. Sorry,
Fifth round. Yeah,
we got to the fifth round of the other domestic trophy. We're knocking on that top. We are knocking on that top four. You know, we've got one foot in the door, I think, but we are knocking on it as our others. There's no way anybody that says that it's a disappointing season from there. No,
Crackers. Yep.
yeah, absolutely.
This is the year that we learned how to integrate Tonali into the squad and make it go. I mean, it was a grand season. It was perfect. It was great. And we've still got a chance to get something good out of this. So I'm happy.
And depending on who we can bring in over the summer,
yes,
you know, I am absolutely salivating at what we have ahead of us.
Yeah,
I've heard there's some interest down for Martinez.
That would be the only downer in my season for the rest of I think for the rest of time. If we were to sign that guy as a keeper, I'd be I would be wholly disappointed.
Yes.
What the hell are you? And if Eddie Howe thinks he can redeem him again, yes,
no. JC,
brilliant.
I love it.
So
he had to do it.
He did. I answered this in a twofold. I said the short term, looking at, if I just call it a mini season, the last few games, where we are, if we didn't make Champions League football, I'd be disappointed because it's in our hands.
Yeah.
But the overall season has been exceptional because we've won a trophy. You know, we're in the fight to finish in the top four even, but top five now because of how it all works out. That is absolutely incredible. It's an incredible achievement, especially since we haven't signed anyone in free windows. You know, apart from Lewis Hall, has been our only main signing. So that's the way I answered it. Yes, if you look at the next 5 games where we are, I would say yes, I'd be disappointed, but not through the whole season. The whole season's been exceptional. Yeah. And we fully deserve that Champions League spot, and I really do hope we get it. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yes. Right. That's all the talking points. Does anyone want to end on anything before we go?
I've enjoyed it. I love talking to you guys. I enjoy how much we've had, how much fun we've had this year. And I look forward to these next 5 matches. I look forward to seeing you guys again. So,
yes.
Safe travels, Dan.
And to you, Jack, I'm hoping maybe we could put together a barcode banter while you're over, while you're stateside. But if it doesn't work out, we will do something when we're together on Tyneside.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've got one last thing to say. Diacro, amazing sponsors. Use code BAZ20 for 20% off. Amazing stuff. Don't forget about that. And Jan Art, if you're looking for anything to do with cartoon characters, tattoos, or anything you want drawing of, he is your man. This stuff is absolutely incredible. He's done some great stuff for us, and we love shouting him out because of his work is fantastic. And he's got a mini open top bus parade one picture that he's done of all the players together. It's absolutely brilliant. So please check them out. All the links to all of this are in the description below, so you can find them there. We will be back on Wednesday night. I'll be doing a fans forum. I've got a few people lined up for that. That's going to be very interesting. I've got a new thumbnail for it that John has kindly had to volunteer himself to be on the front cover of it. I didn't even ask him. I just did it.
Jack, I have to say, I did get a couple of questions at the pub. You know, they wanted to know, is that a replica or is that the real thing?
They did pretty good. I thought
they did. Yeah. Yep.
It is a very good replica because I don't think it
is.
would have been allowed to be out in a pub with one person going around
I
saying
wouldn't think so.
£5 for a photograph. But it's brilliant. So join us on Wednesday night, and then we'll be back Friday night for the look ahead to the game on, I think we'll play Saturday, no, Sunday. Do we play Sunday?
No, we play Saturday.
Saturday,
7 a.m. our time, so 3 p.m. kickoff for you guys.
Brilliant. So we will be live on Friday night to discuss the game at 8:15 as always. But join us on Wednesday night and you can have your say on all the topics in the chat as well. And we'll have some different guests on, which will be nice for them doing it for the first time. So see you Wednesday, guys. Take care.
Good
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.